Yesterday we discussed about classification of offenses into cognizable and non-cognizable offenses. So there we discussed that the basis of that classification is mainly power of police to arrest, investigate, and also its duty to register an FIR in case a person approaches police for lodging an FIR. So that is, these three are mainly the purpose behind classifying offenses into cognizable and non-cognizable offenses. Now, as far as the question of finding out that which offense is cognizable and which is non-cognizable, we don't have to apply our mind to it. The draftsman of the code has provided a list of the offenses which are cognizable and which are non-cognizable under first schedule part 1 of CRPC. But that list under first part of first schedule contains offenses that are there under IPC. It does not give you a kind of a express clue as far as offenses under any other law other than IPC is concerned. So for IPC, the idea is very simple. That if you want to find out which offense is cognizable, which is non-cognizable, then just go to the first schedule, read the first part, identify the offense which you are looking for. If you are looking for theft, go to the offense of theft 379. Then you can easily find out whether theft is cognizable or non-cognizable. Similarly, you can also find out whether theft is bailable or non-bailable. But when it comes to offenses that are there in laws other than IPC, then you have to apply a kind of formula, which is provided under part 2 of schedule 1, and which is that if the offense in any law other than IPC is punishable with an imprisonment of less than 3 years, then it shall be treated to be a non-cognizable offense. But if the offense in any law other than IPC is punishable with an imprisonment of either 3 years or more than 3 years, then that offense shall be treated to be a cognizable offense for the purpose of applying the provisions of CRPC. ये distinction है, it is basically for the purpose of applying the provisions of CRPC relating to power of police to arrest, power of police to investigate, and duty of police to register an FIR. So this was in brief the discussion that we had in like 40-50 minutes of our class. So I'll stop here before starting our today's lecture. If you want to ask anything on this discussion, so this is a very simple discussion, then you can ask.
Sir. Sir, yesterday I was reading this section 2. So 2 clause X के अंदर there is a term warrant cases. So warrant cases and cognizable cases में difference क्या होगा?
This is different. When you read anything relating to a definition of summons case and warrant case, तो वहाँ पे it is talking about power of magistrate or court to issue a summon or warrant for securing the appearance of the accused person at the trial. तो ट्रायल तक सीमित है बस उसका मायना. ठीक है जी?
ओके सर, ओके.
हाँ, ठीक है. वो वी विल डिस्कस लेटर ऑन. बट ये समझ के चलो कि जब हम वारंट और समन केस के बारे में इफ वी आर रीडिंग समथिंग समवेयर, then it means that is related to classification of offenses wherein the purpose is to find out कि जब कोई मैजिस्ट्रेट और कोर्ट किसी अपराध का ट्रायल कर रहा है तो एक्यूज्ड का प्रेजेंस सिक्योर करने के लिए, सपोज एक्यूज्ड इज ऑन बेल, ठीक है, तो उसका प्रेजेंस सिक्योर करने के लिए वेदर दैट मैजिस्ट्रेट और जज विल इशू ए समन और वारंट, बस उसका इतना इंपॉर्टेंस. ठीक है, मोर वी विल डिस्कस अबाउट दैट लेटर ऑन, बट इट डज नॉट हैव एनीथिंग टू डील विद whether police can arrest with warrant or without warrant, whether police can investigate without the with the order of the magistrate or without the order of the magistrate, or whether police has a duty to register FIR and you have a right to lodge your FIR. It does not have anything to do with these three things. इन तीन चीजों को आप अपने दिमाग में रखो. That is why CRPC is classifying offences into two: cognizable and non-cognizable. And you can always remember the basic of it, that if you look at these purposes, that police can arrest without warrant. इसका मतलब ये है कि पुलिस को आपने थोड़ा सा ज्यादा पावर दिया है, अनगाइडेड पावर एक तरीके से कह सकते हो, बिकॉज इट डज नॉट हैव टू टेक परमिशन ऑफ अ जुडिशियल अथॉरिटी टू अरेस्ट समबडी. तो कारण उसका ये है बिकॉज कॉग्निजेबल ऑफेंसेस आर जनरली सीरियस इन नेचर. Police can investigate immediately. So state is putting its machinery in motion to help the victim. Why? Because the nature of the offense is cognizable. So that is why it's serious in nature, and serious offenses under IPC are considered to be offenses against the state. That is why state is taking the lead. We will investigate this case. Because आपको तो problem हुई है, whoever is the victim of that particular offense or the family of the victim. बट इससे स्टेट को भी प्रॉब्लम है, सोसाइटी एट लार्ज का भी स्टेक इज एट, द इंटरेस्ट इज एट स्टेक. दैट इज व्हाई वी आर टेकिंग अ लीड. Similarly, the registration of FIR becomes a duty of the police if somebody comes to the police station with a grievance relating to commission of cognizable offense. That is why we should have a basic clarity about this thing. This will help us in discussing two topics: one, initiation of criminal case; second, investigation. So जो topic number 2 or 3 of your syllabus है, this definition would be featuring in our lectures again and again, because the word cognizable of expression cognizable offense and non-cognizable offense is provided there in 154, 155, even in other sections of the chapter that we will be discussing. So now today we'll discuss initiation of criminal case. What are the different modes or methods of initiating a criminal case? I have given you a brief idea about it in my very first lecture, that you can initiate a case either by filing an FIR or filing a criminal complaint. But today we will just go a little deeper into this particular topic, and we will just broaden our canvas and try to incorporate as many relevant provisions as we can to discuss this topic. So preliminary comment before starting this topic is that any student who is studying this topic, or any person who is studying this topic, must read the definitions provided under section 2C, 2L, definition of cognizable offense, non-cognizable offense; 2D, definition of complaint, which I haven't discussed with you, but I will refer with you briefly, because I will be discussing complaint in detail later on with cognizance; and section 2H, it's about investigation. Section 2H is the definition of investigation. So if you could mark it, these are the 4 definitions that you must read, or you should read before starting any discussion on this particular topic. Along with that, you should read section 154 and 155. So what we will be doing under this topic, we will be discussing in detail 154 and 155. We will be looking at the text of the section. So I will make you read the entire section after our discussion, so that you can have a kind of a clear understanding that what is provided under 154 and 155. So these are the two most important provisions to which our topic mainly deals with. You may also have a brief idea for now, not a complete clarity about some other provisions like section 156, 157, 173, 190, section 200, 202 and 204. So 202 and 2 you can forget for a while, but a brief understanding of all other sections like 156, 157, 73, 190 and 200 should be there before starting this particular topic. When I'm saying brief understanding, even if you know that this is the heading of that particular section, or this is the basic crux of a particular section, that would do. Because why I'm saying, because 156 and 157 and 73 we will discuss in very detail, in quite detail, when we will discuss investigation. 190 we will discuss under topic number 5 of your syllabus, it's relating to cognizance, and 200 is dealing with the complaint. What will the magistrate do once a complaint has been filed by an aggrieved person? Criminal complaint has been filed. And 204 deals with issue of process. Issue of process is basically if magistrate has taken the cognizance, he may issue the summon or warrant. वही वाली बात है, if it is a summon case, he will issue a summon. If it is a warrant case, he will issue a warrant asking the accused person to appear before a magistrate or court, criminal court, for the purpose of trial. Now trial would start because I have taken the cognizance. So after taking the cognizance, the stage is issuance of process. But do remember that our main focus is 154 and 155. जो भी बाकी चीजें मैं आपको बताऊंगा ना, those things would be there to draw a clear picture, so that I do not discuss with you anything half-baked. So now the first question that you should discuss, or we should discuss when we are discussing starting with this topic, initiation of a criminal case, is a theoretical one. That is, what is the relevance of crime reporting? Why is it important to report crime? Why is it important to report crime? Anyone? Why is it important to report crime? Because if
to maintain
law and order,
to maintain peace and harmony among the society,
to maintain law and order also, or to strengthen rule of law also. हाँ, to strengthen rule of law also, क्योंकि ऐसा ना हो कि ऐसा ना लगे कि हम we are living in a social jungle. हमें लगना चाहिए कि we are living in a just society, wherein if a crime has been alleged to be committed by one person against another, then the victim should have a redressal mechanism, and that redressal mechanism would start if he is given an opportunity to initiate a criminal case. Any other thing which you want to say on it? Strengthens rule of law is quite a good theoretical point. It's important to maintain law and order, or to maintain peace and harmony in the society. Any other thing which any one of you wants to add? To initiate the, yes, it is the first step to kick in motion the criminal justice administration. If you do not start a criminal case, initiate a criminal case, then the criminal justice administration would not move ahead. So if you want to kick in motion the criminal procedure to seek redressal of your grievance, then you have to initiate the criminal case. That is the condition precedent for actually reaching to the stage of getting justice for the wrong that has been committed against you. Anything else which you want to say on this point? So
comparison with previous year.
Hanji?
The comparison.
Comparison means क्या कह रहे हो रामगन, दोबारा बताओ. You can write it. You can write it on the chat box. Okay? So now the problem is, before discussing the importance, let's look at an interesting thing, that every criminal act may not reach the formal criminal justice system. Every criminal act may not reach the formal criminal justice system because of numerous reasons, be it poverty, be it illiteracy, be it lack of awareness of victims, or be it some other reasons. So suppose if a crime has been committed against a woman, sexual offense, serious sexual offense has been committed against a woman, then numerous factors would govern the initiation of criminal case or the steps towards initiation of a criminal case. There shall be numerous factors which me and you cannot fathom if we do not have that gender. So similarly, if suppose a poor person is a victim of crime, then the considerations to report or not to report a crime would vary, and the person has to balance whether to report the crime or not to report the crime, But it is a common case in Indian criminal justice system that all crimes are not reported. All crimes are not reported. The crimes which are reported, if you want to know more about the crimes which are being reported, about their nature, about their severity, about their number, then government prepares statistics of how many crimes are being reported in different parts of the country. So do you have any idea which is the statistics for collecting and analyzing crime data?
NCRB,
NCRB.
National Crime Report Bureau.
That is the organization.
All right.
That is the organization. It publishes reports. किसी ने हाँ. So NCRB is the body, government body, which has the responsibility to collect and prepare data relating to crime. They have a very good website, not a very interactive one, but they have a very good website as far as the statistics relating to crime is concerned. So they're one of the reports, Crimes in India, I think is the title of that report. So in that report, they publish the data. So, and the report ka naam is not, the government agency is NCRB, that is correct. But you should also know the report ka naam, so it's something like Crimes in India. NCRB also publishes other reports as well. So do visit their website, ncrb.gov.in. ये hashtag हाई भी लगाओगे ना, I was confused कि website इसको लगा के खुलेगी या नहीं खुलेगी, but ऐसा ही address लिखा हुआ था, so therefore I have copied it as it is. But even if you type NCRB website, official website, you can easily go there. So NCRB recently has started an initiative of compiling the data of cyber crimes. So that is one of the innovations which NCRB has recently made in their collection and analyzing of crime data. So now this was the first point, that every criminal act is not reported in Indian legal system. So we have to accept this fact, not only by reading the NCRB data, which NCRB is mentioning in numerous reports, that the crime reporting is lower in some cases. So for example, I told you about sexual offenses. There the reporting of crime is very less. So the next important point, and which is the crux of this question, what is the importance of it, which I asked you. So basically, it is the first step in the criminal adjudication system. By reporting, a victim brings the crime into the notice of police or magistrate, and till the time you do not bring the crime into the notice of the functionaries of criminal justice administration, they won't be able to start the criminal process, either investigation or registration of FIR or inquiry. So the functioning of the effective functioning of criminal justice system is also dependent on how quickly and how correctly crimes are being reported by the members of the society to the functionaries of criminal justice administration. अगर ये वाली चीज मिसिंग है ना, तो somewhere you will see or you will witness that your criminal justice system would start crumbling. And I told you that the reasons which are written above, illiteracy, lack of awareness, ये कुछ preliminary reasons है, not all the reasons. So there is a multitude of reasons. Different reasons would come into play or would influence the decision of the victim or victim's family when it comes to reporting of the crime. Recently, in Supreme Court in Lalita Kumari case has mentioned the benefits of reporting a crime. So these are that Lalita Kumari is actually taking a theoretical or philosophical angle of reporting of crime to elaborate on its importance. So it is saying that it is the first step to access to justice for a victim. That is true. It upholds rule of law in as much as the ordinary person brings forth the commission of cognizable crime in the knowledge of the state. It also facilitates swift investigation and sometimes prevention of crime. So that none of us picked up. That the one of the benefits because of which crime reporting becomes important is that if you report a crime, then there are high chances that police would be able to prevent further crime or further commission of crime. So it's like if you let go things, कि चलो कोई नहीं, if somebody has committed a crime against me, let me be a good man and do not take this thing forward, then there are high chances that the same person would end up committing the crime against you once again. It is the main reason behind committing the same offense till the time it is being reported in those cases where suppose a minor child is being made victim of a sexual offense. So generally offenses against children are of such nature that they are being committed till the time they are not reported. तो जब तक आप उनको रिपोर्ट नहीं करोगे तब तक वो ऑफेंस कमिट ही होता चला जाएगा. और ऐसा फॉर एग्जांपल the same thing you would witness in case of crime of extortion. Till the time you do not report it, you do not know where the demand may go. It may go very high, beyond your capacity, and then you will be compelled to report the crime. So ऐसा minor के cases में तो it's very unfortunate that because the nature of the crime and the age and the maturity of the victim is such that it is quite impossible to actually initiate or report the crime at the earliest possible stage. So, but if somebody is unable to do that for a considerable period of time, then that would lead to continuous commission of that crime for a considerable period of time. And finally, if you report the crime on time, then it leads to less manipulation. So एक तो होता है crime report करना after and having an afterthought, after deliberating upon it, after weighing the cost and benefit of reporting a crime. और एक होता है you immediately report the crime. If you immediately report the crime, then police would get more opportunity to investigate the case more effectively. It can collect better evidences. But if you are reporting the crime with a delay, then basically it would lead to manipulation either from the side of accused person or from the side of investigating agencies, and sometimes from the side of victim or victim's family. So these are some basic points that you can remember when it comes to asking a question like why is it relevant to important the crime at the earliest and as soon as possible. So then you can talk about these things. Access to justice, it will help in strengthening rule of law, it will help in preventing crime, it will help in having a good investigation, it will help in kickstarting the criminal justice administration. So these are the few points that you should keep in mind. Now coming to the second question, and which is more important than the first one, because first one was more theoretical. So when a question is more theoretical, then I get like very wide latitude to speak many things which I could not speak in a very technical kind of a question. So it is a technical question. I have to be bound by CRPC provisions, and the question is, what are the methods of initiating a criminal case under CRPC? What are the methods of initiating a criminal case under Code of Criminal Procedure? So then you'll answer it that there are two methods, and this is slightly innovative. I'm telling you something which is based on my understanding. I may be going beyond the rubric of CRPC, a bit, not too much. I am like still within the CRPC, but maybe a little bit transcending the boundary of CRPC, but that is not an issue. The main issue for us is, are we able to understand this idea of starting a criminal case? So the first method of initiating a criminal case is by reporting the crime. Now we will look at how any victim could report the crime. What are the different avenues available to a victim of a crime, or the family of victim of a crime, or any person who has witnessed a crime to report that crime? What are the avenues available to that person? So look at this flow chart. Only the first three boxes. At the top, there is a heading, modes of reporting a crime. So just visualize it. Try to visualize it. Like, I don't want to give you a kind of a continuous lecture. That is not my forte. कि मैं बोल रहा हूँ और उधर आप सुन रहे हो. So what I would request you is to visualize it. भाई सवाल ये पूछा जा रहा है कि CRPC के प्रोविजंस के अंतर्गत कितने तरीके से किसी क्रिमिनल केस को इनिशिएट किया जा सकता है. तो हमने कहा दो तरीके हैं भाई. अब हम पहला तरीका पढ़ रहे हैं क्राइम को इनिशिएट करने का, एंड उसको आप सिंपल भाषा में बोलोगे दैट द फर्स्ट मेथड ऑफ इनिशिएटिंग ए क्रिमिनल केस अंडर द प्रोविजंस ऑफ CRPC इज बाय रिपोर्टिंग दैट क्राइम. अब जब हमने ये जान लिया, देन वी आर आस्किंग अनदर क्वेश्चन. भाई क्राइम रिपोर्ट करने के भी कई तरीके हैं या एक ही तरीका है? जब आप कह रहे हो यू कैन रिपोर्ट द क्राइम टू द फंक्शनरीज ऑफ क्रिमिनल जस्टिस एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन who are competent to register your grievance, then you have to actually answer it very clearly. वही ये तरीके हैं to report the crime. Okay, so I'll stop here for a while. Read this. Even if you miss the relevant section initially, क्योंकि वी आर स्टार्टिंग विद द CRPC, अगर एक बार को आपको लगता है कि चलो सेक्शन नहीं बता पा रहा हूं मैं, बट तरीका तो पता होना चाहिए. So it's a procedural law. Till the time you do not visualize it, it won't have a grip over your head. So till the time you start visualizing it, this procedural law would itself start entertaining you. The question was that in how many ways a person can report the crime under the provisions of CRPC. So visualize it. The first way is that the person can lodge an FIR with the police under section 154 of CRPC if the crime that has been committed against him is a cognizable offense. So think about it. Do not only read it, but also visualize it, that if A committed the crime of grievous hurt against B by breaking his bone. Now B is aggrieved by this commission of crime. Then B may approach the police station, nearest police station, wherever he is. That we will discuss कि भैया किस पुलिस स्टेशन में आपको जाना चाहिए. Now your FIR will be registered. But B may approach the police and lodge an FIR, because that is what is there written under section 154 of CRPC. As a law student, what you should know, थोड़ा सा ज्यादा बस. आम आदमी को ये पता है कि अपराध हुआ तो मैं FIR कर सकता हूँ, but the difference between a layman and a law student, lawyer's understanding is कि नहीं भाई, हर अपराध की आप FIR नहीं कर सकते. So the idea would be that the first mode of reporting a crime is by lodging an FIR. ये तो आम आदमी को भी पता है. The thing which you know little about which you know a little bit more, and because of which you will be a legal professional after completing the degree, that this method of reporting crime would be used in those cases where a cognizable offense has been committed. So there you can report the crime by lodging an FIR under section 154. So this is the first mode of reporting the crime. The second mode of reporting the crime is by filing a criminal complaint before the Ilaka judicial magistrate. Ilaka word is used. I'll use Ilaka because that would excite more interest in you, because it's a Hindi word, and I think that if those students who have a Hindi mother tongue, who has their mother tongue as Hindi, they would associate more with the word. Ilaka is nothing but in law it is the magistrate having the jurisdictional magistrate, who is having a jurisdiction over the place where crime has been committed. So you can file a criminal complaint. So the second mode of reporting the crime is by filing a criminal complaint before the jurisdictional magistrate, and it is judicial magistrate. So mark it is judicial magistrate. Criminal complaint can only be filed before a judicial magistrate, not an executive magistrate. Be it filing of criminal complaint, be it cognizance, be it trial. All these things, if they are being done under the provisions of CRPC by a magistrate, that magistrate is a judicial magistrate. Okay? So that will be done under section 200 read with 191A. 191. So you don't have to read the entire 200 for now, because for now you are only concerned with कि क्राइम रिपोर्ट करने के कितने तरीके हैं CRPC के अंतर्गत. पहला तो हो गया by lodging FIR under section 154 in case the offense is cognizable offense. दूसरा हो गया by filing a criminal complaint before a judicial magistrate having jurisdiction under section 200 read with 191A of CRPC for any offense. तो यहाँ पे अगर किसी के दिमाग में सवाल आएगा कि साहब आपने वहां तो बोला कि कॉग्निजेबल ऑफेंस में के अगर आप कॉग्निजेबल ऑफेंस के विक्टिम हो, आप इफ कॉग्निजेबल ऑफेंस हैज बीन कमिटेड, तो आप वहां पे FIR दर्ज करा सकते हो 154 में. बट यहाँ पे जब 200 रेड विद 191A आप बता रहे हो, तो यहाँ पे नहीं बताया कि कॉग्निजेबल या नॉन कॉग्निजेबल. तो हियर you can answer this, that as far as criminal complaint is concerned, filing of criminal complaint is concerned, there is no such limitation under the provisions of CRPC that your criminal complaint must be related to a cognizable offense or a non-cognizable offense. So a criminal complaint can be filed for either of these offenses. वहां पे आपको ये सवाल ना तो आंसर करना है, ना ये लिमिटेशन है that whether criminal complaint can be filed in a cognizable case or a non-cognizable case. So this question becomes immaterial when it comes to reporting the crime by this second mode, that is by filing a criminal complaint. So I'm repeating it once again. The second mode of reporting a crime is by filing a criminal complaint under section 200 read with 191A, 1A of CRPC. We will not go into it why I am reading 191A with 200. We will discuss this at some other point. अभी तो बस हम तरीके जान रहे हैं, ठीक है? And this criminal complaint can be filed without looking at whether the offense is cognizable or non-cognizable. आप ये परिवाद अपना दर्ज करा सकते हो फौजदारी का, be it a cognizable offense or a non-cognizable offense. Limitation नहीं है, ठीक है? Now the third mode of reporting a crime is quite interesting. A crime is committed against you and you reach the police station and you are a layman. You are not aware about the classification of offenses into cognizable and non-cognizable. जो अपराध आपके खिलाफ हुआ है वो एक्चुअल में नॉन कॉग्निजेबल है, आपको तो पता नहीं है ना. इफ यू लाइक टॉक टू thousands of people walking on the road कि भैया बताना ये वाला अपराध कॉग्निजेबल है, नॉन कॉग्निजेबल है, तो सिर्फ वही व्यक्ति बता पाएगा इसका जवाब जो या तो खुद किसी क्रिमिनल केस में इन्वॉल्व रहा हो या फिर वो लॉयर हो, लीगल प्रोफेशनल हो. Lawyer includes here he may be a judge, a law student, or working with the NGO, or a person working in the administration which is performing the function any of the functionary of the criminal justice system. वो तो बता पाएगा. But if you talk to a normal person, उसको तो यही लगेगा कि भाई अगर मेरे खिलाफ अपराध हुआ है, then I can report. If I want to report it, I should go to the police station and report it, lodge an FIR. तो ऐसा भी बहुत बार होता है कि व्यक्ति थाने आ जाएगा, लेकिन जो अपराध का कंटेंट वो बता रहा है आपको कि जिस तरीके का अपराध उसके अगेंस्ट में कमिट हुआ है, पुलिस को वाले को अगर ये लगेगा दैट इट इज ए नॉन कॉग्निजेबल ऑफेंस, इट इज नॉट ए कॉग्निजेबल ऑफेंस. तो इसका सॉल्यूशन भी सीआरपीसी ने प्रोवाइड किया है. यू नो, समटाइम्स कोड्स आर रिटन by looking very minutely at how things would actually take place. So if you read section 155, you will get this kind of a realization that look at the way this section has been drafted. It is saying that if a person is reporting the crime to the police and that crime is a non-cognizable offense, तो FIR तो लिख नहीं सकता है पुलिस वाला. तो इसमें ये बताया गया है पुलिस वाला क्या करेगा. So that policeman would decode the information in the general diary or station diary and send the informant to the magistrate. कि भैया आप वहां पे क्रिमिनल कंप्लेंट फाइल कर दो जाके, ठीक है जी. So these are the 3 modes or methods of reporting crimes under the provisions of CRPC. I'll discuss a little bit more about it and then we will open the floor. If an FIR has been registered under section 154 because a cognizable offense has been committed or because the FIR involves a cognizable offense, then police has 2 options. And the police officer in charge of the police station, if he is the investigating officer, or if that police officer in charge of police station has appointed somebody else as investigating officer, कई investigating officer होते हैं वैसे थाने में, so generally up to the rank of sub inspector, तो वो भी investigating officer बन सकता है. तो उसके बाद 2 options हैं, and these 2 options are very simple. We will discuss these options in detail while discussing investigation, but I am giving you a brief idea about it. Once an FIR has been lodged, police officer may either start the investigation, or may either decide that looking at the complaint and the facts and circumstances of the case, it does not fit appropriate to continue the investigation. तो वो start तो करेगा investigation, but he can foreclose the investigation as well. और वो foreclosure could be well within the premises of the police station. FIR registration करने के बाद भी और looking at the nature of and the content of the crime, he may decide this, that I do not want to conduct the investigation because of XYZ reasons. वो ऐसे नहीं बोलेगा, legally वो बोलेगा that in my opinion the case registered via FIR number so and so does not seem fit to conduct any investigation as it is not disclosing the commission of a cognizable offense. दर्ज तो कर ली FIR, बट उसके बाद उसको कुछ नहीं मिला उसमें. So उसके बाद he can foreclose the investigation and he will inform the इलाका मैजिस्ट्रेट, जिस मैजिस्ट्रेट के थाने में jurisdiction के अंडर वो पुलिस स्टेशन आता होगा, he will inform the magistrate. एक तो ये तरीका है FIR registration के बाद. The second way is that he will not only start the investigation, but he will continue it. And later on may file a charge sheet or a final report depending on whether there are sufficient evidences against the accused person for producing him before the magistrate for the purpose of taking cognizance. But if you want to remember this step in the simplest term for a while, because we will be discussing it in detail later on, then after the registration of FIR, the police officer would start the investigation. But after starting the investigation, he has two options. Either he can continue the investigation and prepare the charge sheet and file it before the magistrate. एक तो ये तरीका हो गया. दूसरा तरीका है that he can foreclose the investigation. He can foreclose. This is new for us. लेमैन को ये नहीं पता होगा नॉर्मली. ठीक है. सो एज अ लॉ स्टूडेंट व्हेन वी आर रीडिंग सीआरपीसी, सो दिस इज अ न्यू थिंग फॉर अस कि पुलिसमैन व्हेन इट कम्स टू इन्वेस्टिगेट ए cognizable offense has very wide discretionary powers, and that discretionary power is reflected in the provision of section 157, which allows the police officer to foreclose the investigation. He may decide that I do not think that this case is a fit case to be investigated because of XYZ reasons. However, there is a safeguard available if police officer decides so, and that safeguard is that he has to prepare a report if he is not investigating the case. He has foreclosed the investigation and send the report to the magistrate. Now, in case of complaint, if a criminal complaint has been filed, then magistrate there also has two main options. There are other options also, but two mainly. He may take the cognizance. पहला तो यही होगा that if a criminal complaint has been filed under 200 read with 191A, so 191A के अंदर he may take the cognizance and issue the process. Issue the process means he can issue a summon or warrant depending on whether it is a summon case or a warrant case for the purpose of trial, and ask the accused to appear before the magistrate or the judge who will be conducting the trial. Or second, he may forward the complaint to the police and ask the police to register an FIR and investigate the case. अब देखो होता क्या है, जनरली क्या होता है, that if you are filing a criminal complaint involving a cognizable offense, so 99% of the time the magistrate would forward that complaint to the police station, concerned police station. वहां पे भेज देगा उसको. वैसे तो criminal complaint में there is no limitation that whether criminal complaint must be related to a cognizable offense or a non-cognizable offense. लेकिन actual practice में क्या होता है that in case your criminal complaint involves a cognizable offense, then magistrate will forward your complaint to the concerned police station. क्योंकि उसको भी ये लगता है कि अगर कॉग्निजेबल ऑफेंस है तो इसमें एफआईआर दर्ज होके इन्वेस्टिगेशन होनी चाहिए. तो तब ये क्रिमिनल कंप्लेंट का मामला वुड कन्वर्ट इनटू अ पुलिस रिपोर्ट का मामला. क्रिमिनल कंप्लेंट का मामला वुड कन्वर्ट इनटू अ पुलिस रिपोर्ट का मामला. नाउ पुलिस विल रजिस्टर एफआईआर, कंडक्ट द इन्वेस्टिगेशन, फाइल अ पुलिस रिपोर्ट, एंड नाउ मैजिस्ट्रेट वुड टेक कॉग्निजेंस अंडर 191B. तो इसको सीआरपीसी में पढ़ते हैं that ये सवाल पूछते हैं that can a criminal complaint का केस could be converted into पुलिस रिपोर्ट का केस. तो आंसर इज yes. और नॉर्मली ऐसा ही होता है in 99% of the cases. if you are filing a criminal complaint which involves a cognizable offense, तो मैजिस्ट्रेट जो है वो क्रिमिनल कंप्लेंट को फॉरवर्ड कर देता है टू द पुलिस. इफ इट इज a cognizable offense, नॉन cognizable offense, तब वो उसका डिसाइड करता है whether to take the cognizance or not to take the cognizance. Therefore, the second option which we are discussing, he may forward the complaint to the police or he may conduct the inquiry also. He may conduct a inquiry also. So there मैंने इसमें एक और चीज लिखनी चाहिए थी वैसे, he may not take the cognizance. अगर dismiss, he may dismiss the complaint also. So वो मैंने लिखा नहीं है. So मैं इसको तो he may dismiss the complaint also. He or she, whoever is the magistrate, may dismiss the complaint also. If after inquiry he is satisfied that there is no ground to proceed further in this case against the accused person, no substance in the complaint. So this is in brief about 3 modes of reporting the crime, and this is the reporting of crime is the first method of initiating a criminal case, which is a very popular method. हमें यही लगता है कि भाई क्रिमिनल केस जो इनिशिएट होता है ना, it is initiated by reporting the crime, I'll stop here because it's already 2:50. So I'll take the attendance. अभी क्लास होगी ना आप लोगों की?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I'll stop here.